President Trump is getting set to meet with Xi Jinping in Beijing next week. And the big question on everybody's mind here is, first of all, is this going to actually happen, given everything we're seeing in Iran and the Strait of Hormuz? And then secondly, can these two superpowers come to some agreement on trade and the global economy?
What the Chinese would consider a success could be if nothing happened. If President Trump didn't press President Xi to do anything. Of course, if the Chinese are able to get some movement when it comes to tariffs or Taiwan, then it would be considered a smash success. But ultimately, the Chinese don't want to see a whole lot of drama.
President Trump's first visit to China in 2017 was at the very beginning of his first term. It was a completely different political era and a completely different era in the relationship between the United States and China. The United States has put, under President Trump in this second term, tariffs on countries around the world. The tariffs have been designed to really curtail a lot of the economic growth that China has built its new empire on in this 21st century. The president wants a trade deal. He wants to be able to go to Beijing and sign a document which settles the trade disputes between the United States and China once and for all. That seems maybe unrealistic, but we'll see. The president views himself very much as a deal maker, somebody who, if he gets in the room with the principal eyeball to eyeball, he can bring that person over to his way of thinking.
The Chinese are likely going to be asking for what people have been kind of joking would be the 3 T's: tariffs, tech, as well as Taiwan. On tariffs, the expectation is that the Chinese are going to want to try to negotiate down some of these tariffs. The other area would be on tech, that the Chinese would want to get some of the export controls eased off. And then finally, with Taiwan, the Chinese have signaled that they want to make sure that their red line is not crossed.
When this meeting started, it was all about the trade war. Now it's also about the Iran war. We've seen this meeting postponed once because of the war in Iran already. I think the United States is going to press China on this idea of their support for Tehran, both militarily and economically. And China is going to press the United States on access to Iranian oil. I mean, the Chinese need that Iranian oil. They need that to fuel their economy. They want that supply to continue. And they're going to want this blockade situation in the Strait of Hormuz to be resolved soon. That's sort of, the fundamental rock in a hard place, right?
President Xi might very well tell President Trump that we are willing to do something. We will talk with the Iranians, but not necessarily make some sort of enforceable promise. I think that the Iran war is a very important issue, but I don't think that it really changes the overall nature between the two countries.
How that gets resolved is anybody's guess. It's very high drama, it's very high stakes, and that's why we're going to Beijing next week.